Welcome to the Street Dog Podcast, brought to you by the Street Dog Coalition. We are a national nonprofit providing free medical care and related services to pets of people experiencing or at risk of homelessness. I'm your host, Daria Tavana, and I'm also the Director of Development at the Street Dog Coalition. So on our podcast, we explore the world of animal welfare through the eyes of experts, street dog vets and volunteers, and we share inspiring stories, provide updates on our advocacy work, and give you an inside peek, a peek behind the curtain, if you will, at the challenges and rewards of working to improve the lives of animals belonging to people experiencing or at risk of homelessness. So if you're tuning in live on Facebook, you know we love having you here. Go ahead and say hi, drop an emoji in the comments. Let us know where you're tuning in from. Let us know your favorite color. Whatever's on your heart today, just share it with us. We love hearing it. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, please make sure you're following the Street Dog Coalition on Facebook so you can also tune in live every episode and engage with us in real time. Now, without any further ado, on today's episode, we are welcoming our volunteer team lead of our Chicago team, Stacy Lempka, who is also participating in the Street Dog Step Challenge. Now, Stacy is many things, but one of those things that she is a small animal veterinarian in Evanston, Illinois, and she provides relief services for animal hospitals in the Chicagoland area. A Nebraska native, she attended Kansas State University College of Veterinary Medicine and then moved to Chicago after graduation. She got involved with providing care to pets of Chicago's homeless communities through the night ministry in 2013, and she took over the Chicago team lead position at the Street Dog Coalition in 2019. So welcome to the podcast, Stacy. It's so great to have you here. Yay!
Thanks for having me. This is so exciting.
Oh, I'm so glad. I'm so glad. Yeah, it was I think it was Katrina, who I'm sure you know. She said from the moment actually that we started, that we saw that you joined the Step Challenge, which we'll talk a little bit about in this episode. She was like, "You got to get Stacy on the podcast." Stacy is an incredible volunteer team lead. She's so passionate, and of course, we'll talk about your time at FurFest as well, which was apparently transformational. So yeah, Stacy, I'm really glad that you're here, and I'm going to let you do most of the talking now. So if you don't mind, let's dive right in. Can you share with us what inspired you to join the Street Dog Coalition? And maybe tell us also a little bit about what inspired you to join the Street Dog Step Challenge, which, for those of you who don't know, is this exciting fitness meets fundraising campaign that we've got going on this month and the next month at the Street Dog Coalition. So it's a doubleheader question, Stacy, but lay it on us.
Well, because I had been taking care of pets of the homeless or those at risk of homelessness for quite a period of time, when I had a friend who was with the night ministry, I was doing all of those things on my own with my own resources. And so when an opportunity came along to lead a team here in Chicago with Street Dog Coalition, knowing I would be able to have equipment and have access to medical supplies that I really couldn't afford myself, it really became a win-win situation. And it also allowed for me to expand beyond those that were with the night ministry, but to also offer services to other organizations. So it came at a perfect time, and it really has allowed us to continue to serve the clients in need of pet care the most. And it's been a blessing, really. We continue to try to grow our volunteer group. That's probably one of the harder things for us to do. And we've been able to secure some grants and some donations, which has really impacted our ability to offer care or food or supplies. So this past year has been just an amazing amount of growth for the Chicago team, and we've been really excited by all the great things that have happened for us.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to spend the next 30 minutes thanking you, but I'll try not to. You are not only an incredible veterinarian, an incredible volunteer, but you are one of our star fundraisers. We just want to clone you so we can have 10 Stacys. And I think, fundraising is hard, and it's a testament, I think, to your, not only to your dedication to animals and your dedication to the work that you do, but your ability to really think big picture, right? And to really think and have an appreciation for an understanding of the impact that you can have in Chicago with more resources. So thank you.
Well, you're welcome, but I have to say it wasn't just myself. I mean, this last year, with the amount of money and donations and the grants that we received, that was the workings of many people behind the scenes at Street Dog Coalition. It was the workings of many people coming out to volunteer their time to give. And I know we'll get into the FurFest as well, but you're right, that was transformational. That was a moment that, and I still tear up when I think about it. It was one of the best weekends I think that I've had. Sorry. So we were very blessed. And yeah, sometimes I think people give, and they give so wonderfully and so freely from their heart. Sometimes they don't know how that money's really impacting other people. And so it's nice for us to be able to get the message out about, here's where your dollars went, even if it's 50 cents, if it's $5, it makes a huge impact for those that are living on the street in a tent under a viaduct. With a pet that they really care about, that their only emotional support really, but they can't feed it, or it needs a medical attention and they can't afford that. So it's really been great this year. And like I say, it takes a village. It's not one person. There are a lot of people behind the scenes really making that happen. And I've been so blessed to have the support of Katrina, and Dr. Wheeler, and a lot of people that are in the organization.
Yeah, thanks for that, Stacy. I appreciate that, and I think it's really true. It's obviously the issue of homelessness exists in most major cities, and of course in rural areas as well. And it is something that it's an experience that some of our donors have experienced, but most of our donors have not experienced. Most of our volunteers have not experienced. So it is beautiful and inspiring to watch people take the bond that they feel with their own animal in their own home, the comfort of their own home, and use that bond that they have with their animal as inspiration to help preserve the bonds that these individuals who are struggling financially, who are just like us in more ways than one, so that these individuals can maintain these bonds with their pets and keep their pets healthy and happy. And yeah, I think it's a great point you're making, like the non-attachment of it all. This just giving money away and knowing and hoping and praying that it will help these individuals either get through another day, or maybe even turn their lives around for their pets, which they so often do, right? So
yeah, no, that was so well said. I mean, I had a woman recently who was able to acquire housing, and this is really kind of a key point too for people that donate, in that sometimes when we talk about pets of the homeless, there are some of our humans that get housing, but the problem becomes they still don't have an income. They still don't have money. Most of them are still in need of some mental health support, maybe addiction support. And so they're working really hard, and they want to get better because they have a pet that they know depends on them as well, but they still are in need of cat litter, cat food, dog food, certain supplies. And so those donations that come in allow for us to be able to provide for them on a consistent basis, so they don't have to worry and be stressed about how they're going to care for their pet.
yeah, that's a really great point. I think that's what, donating to an organization like ours, that's, I think, the impact that it has is it allows us to assess over time the needs of these individuals. Some needs are more obvious and immediate, like, cat litter and dog food. But some needs sometimes come out of nowhere. I know for the most part, the work that we do is preventative care and preventative medicine, but we have been able to gently assist here and there with these emergency cases that come up, right? And of course, we have been able to, finally now we have staff members like me, which is so exciting. We have been able to, now compensate individuals, right? Right? Applause,
Yeah,
applause. So
so great.
exciting. So we have now been able to compensate individuals so that these individuals can do a lot more work to help pets of people experiencing homelessness. And some of this work, like you mentioned, oftentimes involves setting up One Health clinics, where we're not only helping pets of people experiencing homelessness, but we're helping individuals get haircuts, connect with mental health professionals, connect with Narcan training, addiction services, and specialists. So I really appreciate this holistic approach that you obviously take to helping, both ends of the leash, if you will. That's fantastic.
And that kind of moves right into the step challenge, because
Yeah.
this step challenge, it has multiple benefits really for me. One is to fundraise for this wonderful organization to continue to support those that have pets that are unhoused or struggling to stay housed. But it also allows for a bond with my own dog to be able to go on a walk and then to build a healthy daily habit. So there's a lot of benefits to this challenge. And I'm really excited because I just got my first 2 supporters today on my page. So that,
Congratulations. I think I saw that. I think I saw that very briefly and I was like, oh, Stacy.
yeah. Yeah, so that's another means for all of us to be able to get out and one, have fun, enjoy being outside, enjoy, if you don't have a dog, you could go to a shelter and you could volunteer to walk a dog and use those steps. I mean, there's a lot of creative ways that this step challenge can happen, even if you don't have your own animal.
Oh, I
But
love
it
that.
goes to a great way of supporting not only the pets and keeping them healthy, but to support their owners and making sure they're able to maintain or get the services that they need so that we can help both ends of the leash.
That's so beautiful, Stacy. I so appreciate your insight there. I love this idea of going to a shelter and volunteering to walk the dogs at the shelter. And again, for individuals who don't know, I know a lot of our listeners are avid fans of the Street Dog Coalition, but if you're new to our world, then I want you to know that the Step Challenge is this exciting opportunity that Stacy is participating in. Now I think we have at least 24 fundraisers,
Yeah.
and we're just getting started. But essentially, it is a campaign that we are running through September and October. October, which is National Animal Safety and Protection Month. Gosh, I flub that every time I say that.
Long.
So this campaign is really exciting because it gives you the opportunity to create a personalized fundraising page to fundraise for the Street Dog Coalition. But while you're fundraising, you also pledge to either take steps every day outside with your dog, with your neighbor's dog, with a shelter dog, or to take steps toward learning a new skill, toward creating a piece of artwork. So that's why we're calling it the Step Challenge. And for individuals who are tuning in and who love the idea of challenging themselves to raise some funds and to get a step in and create a nice little intentional movement routine with you and your furry friend, I'm including the link. I don't know why I'm doing this as if it's right here. It's not right here. It's in the show notes. But exactly right down there. I'm including the link for you to check out what we got going on at the Step Challenge. And I know I say this all the time, but fundraising can be scary and intimidating. And that is why I am here every step of the way to provide you with tools and tips and resources so that you don't feel like you're fundraising alone and you don't feel like you need to be salesy or icky about asking someone, or rather giving someone the opportunity to support the Street Dog Coalition and to support you in your step goals. So that's my spiel. And I really, Stacy, love this idea I'm going to steal it, and I'm going to be encouraging people to do it, to go to their local shelter and walk the dogs at
Yeah.
their local shelter.
Yeah, there's so many dogs that need to be exercised and just have their own attention and time. And it would just be a win-win all around. So,
Love that.
even if you have your own dog, if you have the time to go and grab a dog from the shelter and walk it for one day out of the week, that would be fantastic.
I love that. I love that. Thank you for that, Stacy.
Sure.
And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about how you see your involvement in the STEP challenge, how you see your involvement as, I guess, this spokesperson for the Street Dog Coalition. How do you see it kind of making a positive impact on people like you who are participating in the STEP challenge and in your community?
Well, I think that one, I try to wear my Street Dog Coalition shirts as much as possible. So, as you
And
have,
you
have
are
the
now.
Ukrainian support one on, which I love, and I have the black and white one on. We have great merchandise. I just think it brings a lot more awareness. Sometimes people don't know what the Street Dog Coalition is, and then they're not aware that Pets of the Homeless have a means of support. So it brings a lot of awareness to that. It also makes me really excited to watch as people are joining this challenge and as we have supporters that are donating. And like I said, I think that the donations, they come in and whether they're $1 or $100, it really, the amount doesn't matter. It's just knowing we have people behind us supporting us along the way, and we're getting the word out about all of our teams across the country because we have so many teams now. So it's wonderful to see that, and it's wonderful to see that word is spreading.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's really true. It's this opportunity, I think, to, not only raise funds, but also awareness about what we do. I think, when I first learned about the Street Dog Coalition, I literally did not know that services like this existed. And it completely melted my heart in the best possible way when I learned that services like these existed. I know individuals who are kind of in the same boat. When they learn about what the Street Dog Coalition does, the next time they're walking through their city and they see an individual who is clearly living on the street, who has a pet, it gives them this opportunity to stop and speak with the individual and let them know that these services exist, and that the Street Dog Coalition is there to help them. And it's just really exciting. So I love what you mentioned in terms of every dollar counts, every dollar does count. And even if you were to join the campaign, and I always tell this to people, I'm like, worst thing that can happen is you don't reach your fundraising goal, and that's totally fine. It's okay. But we raise this awareness so that people know these services exist. And in my opinion, that's just as important as raising funds. So
Yeah, definitely. My sister, in fact, just reached out the other day. She lives in Omaha, Nebraska, and she was at the Humane Society, and there was a Street Dog Coalition poster for the Omaha team out there. And she was like, I didn't even realize that there was a team here. So
aw.
it's really great. Even my own family is getting educated, but it's nice to see that the word is getting out, and people are seeing us across the United States.
Yeah.
And in Ukraine, the work that Dr. Geller's doing, I mean, just getting a mobile unit across, to the people in Ukraine has been phenomenal. And so being able to support all of these outreach efforts is really impacting thousands of people.
Yeah. I totally agree. I mean, I've only been part of the staff since March, and I genuinely wake up every day feeling really confident and excited about the work that we're doing and the expansion that's happening within our organization and throughout more communities. It's awesome. And better than anyone. We got like the smallest, scrappiest team. And I think we're making waves, and it's really exciting.
I think everybody's a go-getter. So I think that we have everybody just ready to go. There's so many great team leads that are involved, and between you running this great podcast and keeping all of us on target for our challenge. It's been
Thank you.
great. I mean, it's really wonderful. The support is really wonderful to have. And, I would encourage anyone who has an interest in volunteering with animal care, or they want to volunteer their time. If you're a veterinarian, a veterinary technician, even if you have no background in veterinary medicine, there's always a need for us to have people to help with paperwork, or to talk to the clients that show up, and the pet owners, so that they know, we're there, we care, we want to know more about them, we want to be able to service them if they need other services, that we can maybe connect them with a mental health specialist or a social worker who might be able to get them housing, or a nurse practitioner if they need medical care. So we really need a big source of volunteers, and it's not just veterinarians or veterinary technicians that show up anymore.
Yeah, that's a really great point. Thanks for that, Stacy. And it's true. I think we attract people who have all different kinds of skills, all different kinds of aspirations in terms of things they're trying to learn, right? I am certainly not a veterinarian. I'm here rocking out with my theater degree. And when I go to clinics, I often take pictures. I just talk to people, and I make them, or at least try to make them feel comfortable there. So there is, and I've always obviously had a deep appreciation for and curiosity about street medicine and veterinary care. So just going there and kind of seeing these vets in action is so cool to me. It is beyond cool to me. And I know that a lot of these veterinarians are individuals who have their own practices, who are used to a more formal clinical setting. So I just love hearing stories about how individuals, veterinarians take to the streets and find it so inspiring and refreshing to be out of the somewhat stuffy clinical setting that they're used to being in, and just kind of, cutting out that middleman and going straight to the source and helping these animals. It's just inspiring to see you do the work that you do, and just watching it kind of light up your life is why I do what I do. So
Yeah, and I think that, for all of those that have volunteered, the number one feedback I always get is, that felt so great. All of those owners were so thankful. They always said thank you. They were very grateful for any amount of help that we could give them. And it's so true. It's, a lot of these pet owners are putting their pets ahead of themselves. I had a husband and wife that someone had stopped to offer them food, and they turned around and gave the hamburger to the dog because their dog hadn't eaten in the past 24 hours. And it kind of caught the person who gave them the food a little off guard. But I think the realization is, they're trying to take care of their pet, and they're going to put their pet almost first. So if we can be there to help support them, then that's wonderful. But they, every night when we are out, there's no end to the gratitude that we get, and it fills your heart up, and it really keeps you going.
it's beautiful. Thank you for that, Stacy. And it's funny, I've had other veterinarians on the podcast say, like, yeah, the individuals we help at these clinics are way more appreciative and grateful than the individuals I help in my practice. And it's just funny to hear that that's the common thread.
It is, it's
That,
been
right?
hard. COVID's been so hard on the veterinary field. So we've lost a lot of staff. We've lost a lot of people just in the field itself. So many hospitals are short staffed. Their bookings are big. Everyone's very stressed. So to get people to still continue to come out and volunteer has been phenomenal. But because it fills them up so much at the end of the night, it certainly leads you back to an appreciation of the talents and the gifts that you're able to offer, to care for these pets, and it helps all of the volunteers to feel like, wow, I'm really making a difference. Somebody's saying thank you to me, and it just really makes me feel good to be able to help them.
Love that. I love that. Oh, that makes me so happy. And And speaking of feeling good, Stacy, why don't you tell us a little bit? We have like 10 minutes left. Let's talk about this famous Fur Fest that Katrina said you have to talk to Stacy about this. So maybe if you don't mind, can you give our
Yeah.
listeners some insight into what Fur Fest is and how your experience at Fur Fest, I believe it was last year, how it's influenced you personally, as well as your team in Chicago, your street dog team in Chicago.
Yeah, so Midwest FurFest is an annual convention of what's called the furries. So it's people that anthropomorphize animals in art, in literature, in costumes. And I was not very familiar. I had heard of furries and only mostly from a negative connotation of people talking about furries.
Yeah.
So they reached out to us every year at their convention. They pick one charity that is either animal or human driven, animal care or human care. And they pick one charity to raise funds for. So last year they asked a few organizations to interview for their charitable, to be their charitable beneficiary. And Katrina actually did the meeting for us. And how can you not love Katrina? First of all, like she's just like a ball of fire and so passionate and just one of the kindest hearts. And her whole family's that way, by the way. But I just love her, and she's always willing to step up to the plate and give 125% of herself. So
I fully agree.
yeah. So she took the meeting, and afterwards we found out that we were chosen, the Chicago team, to be the charitable beneficiary. And so we gathered a group to put up a booth. The money that was raised came through registration, so partial parts of the registration for each attendee at the convention. And then there were auctions that happened throughout this convention on the weekend. So there were art auctions, there were games, they did like, escape rooms, and there was portions of each of those registrations donated. There were great costumes. It was amazing. And I have to tell you, it was probably an event like no other that I've ever been to, because it was filled with just so much love and acceptance. Everybody accepted each other, no matter your ability or disability, no matter your race, no matter your gender. It was a phenomenal love fest, really. It felt great to be with these people. We were accepted wholeheartedly, and I think it touched so many of us that were there, and it was wonderful to get our mission out, but at the same time it allowed us to become a little more familiar about what furries are and what the Fur Fest does. So this Fur Fest last year, because of after COVID and not having a convention, this was really almost one of their number one attended events. There was over 13,000 people that showed up to this event. So we were, it was quite amazing. And at the end of the weekend, the board was going to present us with a check from the funds that they raised. So initially there was this little scuttle going on, and we were hearing, some pretty big numbers, like $20,000. And that was really overwhelming because we really hadn't achieved raising funds like that. So they called us all up onto the stage at the end of this convention so that they could present to us their donation. And they stood us up there and they said that they had raised $26,000. And the place went crazy. Everybody was so excited. And then he said, but hold on, we're not done yet. And proceeded to bring out one of those gigantic checks, like the big Publishers Clearinghouse.
Like the knock on the door.
Yeah. And in fact, they did not raise just $26,000 for us. They raised over $100,000 for us and surprised us with the fact that this was actually the number. And there were tears everywhere, and it was just disbelief. It was so amazing. And to top it off, as we're all still standing there, it's just in shock at the amount of love and open-heartedness that all of these attendees gave. They asked them to just empty their pockets, to come up onto the stage, and whatever money they had left, they should just empty their pockets for
In their
Street Dog
furry
Coalition.
pockets, their
Yeah.
costume pockets.
Their warm little dollars or coins. They ended up donating another up to $5,000 in that 15 minutes of time.
Wow.
It was amazing, and we certainly have been able to use those funds for many different patients and people, or pets and their humans, especially in the last 4 months. It's been a very interesting situation. We weren't sure how those funds were going to be used in particular. However, we've had a dog that ended up, his human was living out of a car. She unfortunately fed her dog some steak bones. The dog got very ill. She took him to a veterinary teaching hospital.
Is this
And
Jethro?
This is Jethro, yes.
Go
Yeah.
ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's fine. Yeah, sweetest little dog ever. And I got a phone call out of the blue. Somebody had looked up resources to help people that don't have money for pet care. And the university was willing to see her if we could come up with a exam fee initially, and then they would help put an estimate together to find out, does he need surgery? Is he got a good prognosis? We were able to provide for that owner the exam fee, to provide for money for diagnostics. The great news is that Jethro didn't need surgery and Jethro recovered. So that was really a unique situation. But I have some pets here in Chicago whose humans are really struggling and have had to go into the hospital for one reason or another. We've had to try to locate emergency housing. We are still trying to handle skin or ear infections for them. In the meantime, still supporting that owner. And so those funds have come into use so that we can actually help support the pet while their human is trying to recover, get better, and get back together again.
Oh man, what a story. That's beautiful. I remember being copied on emails about Jethro and really kind of waiting with bated breath to hear what was going to happen with Jethro. And I also remember feeling this sense of relief that we had the financial stability and the financial security that Jethro's caretaker wasn't fortunate enough to have at that time.
Right.
And I really love this balance that we are able to, as an organization, create in the world. That it seems like it's always like kismet. It's everything kind of falls into place when it needs to. And really that's why these funds are so important. I think, fundraising for any nonprofit organization is critical. And, but I think fundraising specifically for an organization that helps people with limited funds is exciting to me, because it kind of just gives us this opportunity to kind of even out this playing field and give these animals a fighting chance that they deserve, that they would receive, in any other scenario with any other caretaker who just so happened to be a bit more well off financially. So I love that example. I love Jethro, and I'm so glad to hear that Jethro is doing well. Yay!
Yay. Yeah.
And of course, we want to thank everyone at Midwest FurFest.
Yes. Oh, they were amazing. And Katrina and I are looking forward to volunteering for this year's FurFest so that we can help the next charitable organization that shows up there. Because it's important. It's important for us to also support other organizations that are helping humans with animals. We're all on the same team. We're all trying to really help these pets and help their owners care for them, and to maintain that human animal bond, which we all know is great from an emotional and a physical standpoint, mental standpoint, to have a pet in your life. So to be able to pay that forward is really important for us.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know that everyone listening to this podcast is like, yeah, Stacy right now, because they all feel the same way. We have a lot of volunteers listening. We have a lot of veterinarians listening, and other individuals that work in related services. And before I let you go, Stacy, to tie it all together, bring us home and let us know if someone is listening to this podcast and they love the Street Dog Coalition and they're looking at the show notes and they're staring at the link to the step challenge and they're wondering, is this for me? Should I do it? I'm on the fence. What advice would you have someone that is, and I should also say there is a link to volunteer at an upcoming clinic near you in the show notes as well. So whether it's a step challenge or volunteering, what advice would you give to someone who is interested but tentative about getting involved with the Street Dog Coalition's mission?
I guess the biggest three words are just do it. You know,
Love
there's a group, everyone is so supportive and loving. And even if you feel that maybe you don't qualify to help in certain ways, or you're not sure how you can help, reach out on the links, reach out to your local team. If Chicago's not your area, look at the Street Dog Coalition's website. There are teams across the United States. Every one of us could use any extra set of hands that we could get. And for the step challenge, yeah, if you can't walk, you don't want to walk, you want to learn how to surf or to knit, or to play the banjo, then do those things. But definitely, if you add yourself to our step challenge and you can raise $1, we would love that. We would love just to have your support, because that means the world to us. So get the word out, let people know about Street Dog Coalition, look at our fantastic merchandise too, and join a team. You'll not be sorry. You'll be so happy that you looked into joining a team. And some people can only volunteer once. Some people, I have these volunteers showing up every month. It's really, we appreciate any help we can get, no matter how often you can be there.
Well said, Stacy. Stacy's our new director of development. So I'm going to go home now. I say that as if I'm not already home. Stacy, that was so well said. Yes, there is something for everyone. Yes, there's an opportunity to get involved monthly, annually. Give us $1, give us $5, give us no dollars, but tell someone you know that has money to spare to give us some of that money. Really, every little bit goes a long way. And Stacy, thank you so much for your time today, for shining a light on the mission of the Street Dog Coalition, for giving us a glimpse into how amazing you are, how amazing the Chicago team is. It's a pleasure for me to finally be connected with you, because I know Katrina just loves you, I think, as much as you love her. And I want to thank you again, Stacy, for chatting with me today. And I want to thank everyone listening for taking the time to tune in. I said it before and I'll say it again. We got a bunch of links for you in the show notes. Go ahead and check them out. And if you have any questions at all, you guys are welcome to reach out to me via our social media channels, ask the questions. And of course, you can also surely connect with our Chicago team if you're in the Chicago area. We have a list of teams on our website. And as Stacy briefly mentioned in this podcast episode, they always need more volunteers, new volunteers, people who are just willing to give a little bit of their time and a little bit of their energy to make a really big impact in the Chicago community. So thank you, Stacy. I can't thank you enough, but I hope that I tried to thank you enough in this podcast. And it was just really great connecting with you.
Thank you. It's so great to see you. And thank you for all the hard work that you're doing too. It's been amazing.
Thanks. Thanks so much, Stacy. And I'm sure I'll be talking to you soon.
I look forward to it. Thanks, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.